Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Agent Spotlight. Today I've got with me Kristen Mothershead, someone who has used Razor for a while, but you're seeing some good success, the standard lead type. And I thought it'd be good to get you on here, one, because I've seen the change in Razor, but two, you're obviously someone whose opinion I value. So tell us, who are you, how long you've been in the industry for, and anything else?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for saying that. I'm always up for giving feedback. You guys have made awesome changes. I've just been really impressed with the way that you've taken the feedback and implemented things pretty quickly. So, I have been in the life insurance industry for about 3.5 years. Prior to that, I have
Okay.
a master's degree in school counseling. I have a degree in sociology, so I was planning on doing social services. And along the
Hmm.
way, after having my first kid over 15 years ago, I realized that social services and that career wasn't going to provide the lifestyle, even just the means to bare minimum. Actually, I just realized that if I wanted to provide for my kids and my family in the way that my dad did, I need to figure something out. So I actually
Yeah.
dove into the network marketing industry, which is where I spent the last mm, 12 years. And my husband was at home with me. I was supplying the income from that business. So when it took a downfall, I needed to pivot quickly. And I found life insurance. It checked all the boxes and I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, "Hey, if I can continue living this way, I'm going to figure it out." So I
Perfect.
have been doing this, yeah, for 3.5 years. I've got 3 kids, 2 to 14, and a wide range there, and we live in Virginia on the
Wow. Wow. So how do you balance that? Because obviously, and we'll go into the leads in a bit, but how do you balance that just a time thing? Because obviously 2-year-old and a 14-year-old require very different things, right? And obviously you've got a business to run, you've been in here for the 3.5 years. So how have you managed to manage that time?
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's the 11-year-old in the middle who is the most moody. She's moody, and I honestly throw balance out the window. I used to use that word all the time, but I have kind of moved to integration is what I like to call it. I really, just for focus on life work integration, and that sometimes means that I'm working until 8 p.m., but I haven't unplugged for a school conference or we just ebb and flow with life, and that's what I feel like my true balance is just being able to say yes to those things that I need to say yes to for my family, but also
Yeah,
being able to show up at work like I can and when I can. So, not always easy.
perfect.
Easier said than done sometimes, but
Yeah, yeah, I really can imagine. That's cool. Talk to me a bit more about like what like income. You don't have to be specific, but what type of income you're earning? Because obviously, to be in this industry for 3.5 years, it must mean that one, it's working, and two, that you're seeing the consistency that you need to provide for your family, like you're saying before, in a way that fits within the lifestyle. So, what type of income are you earning?
yeah, that's a great question. And I will often tell people, I don't know why, but it feels like real estate to me. Like sometimes I can be doing everything right, but no matter what I do, there's going to be seasons of ebb and flow. And so, just as an entrepreneur, we prepare for those things. And again, not always as well as we should, but it's part of this life. You can have some really big highs and some really low lows. But I I used to make a very significant income, 15 to 20,000 a month consistently for years in my network marketing
Hmm.
industry. So I haven't quite replaced that here, but I
Yeah,
can't say that I've had a baby and a 1-year old and now a 2-year old who I'm in a different season of life than I was, when I
yeah,
started the business. And so I know that my potential to earn that, especially just as a producer, not even if I didn't have an agency, I can earn that income as soon as I say, "Let's go." Like, as soon as I put the time and effort in. But if I can make, okay, a month on my own pen and just also help my agency do the same or meet their goals as far as income, that
yeah.
that is what being able to say yes to food and clothes and bills and not be stressed about it at bare minimum. That's my goal for income. Would love to make 40, 50 grand a month, but I also want to keep my sanity.
I love that. Do you know why I love that? Is because it's the truth. I think, as you rightly said, in your entrepreneurial journey, there's going to be ebbs and flows. And there's also going to be a change of what you need, right? Your needs and wants will evolve over time. And I say, right, I
Yeah.
came into this business, I'm gonna earn this amount of money. They're like, well, I've now got, that was when I was just me and my wife. Now I've got
Right.
two kids. They're young, 5
Yep.
and 1. And yeah, I just want to be around to help them and support them and, see them grow up and help in any way, shape or form. And that means,
Yeah.
yes, you probably provide income. Reality is what's more important for you at that time. I really love what you're saying there. So in terms of the leads, so obviously we spoke about you've had many forms of razorage. So maybe it'd be good to tell people like more history of when you got started with Razor Ridge, but also potentially why you left and why you're back here with us now.
Yeah, so Razor Ridge, honestly, it was the search leads, and I don't know what you would compare those to now, but they were the most expensive, but they saved my life. Otherwise, I would have probably eventually had to quit because I was probably a year or so in, and I could not figure well, I had a baby, obviously, so that was a hard adjustment, but I couldn't figure out production outside of my warm market. I didn't matter what lead type I bought. So I got to the point where I finally said, "You know what? I have to throw everything to the wall and figure this out, whatever it cost us." Like, my husband gave me the green light, so I was like, "Okay, we're gonna do this." So I'm like, bought the expensive search leads, and I did it probably I was 80 search leads in before I think I made my first sale, which is a huge significant amount of, you know, money.
And yeah,
So, but I tracked it on a spreadsheet because I said, "If this works, I wanna be able to give people data," and if you know me, I'm not a sp I hate spreadsheets, so for me to track that on a spreadsheet was a big deal. But I started consistently winning. I knew if I invested, 1,000 or 1,200, I would make, 4 to 5, 6. So that's where I found my production lane, and it's where I found my posture, with the search leads, and I didn't move away for any specific reason. Honestly, I think the agency just needed me more and I needed to produce less. And all the CRM changes that everyone goes through, like with just my company, and it's just a lot of changes. We moved states. So it wasn't a specific reason, but then you have the new stuff. And I was like, let me just check this out. And I, was immediately impressed by just the different types and even just the simplicity. I told you the simplicity of the website, all of it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just try it out. So, and have
no,
been
I,
impressed.
I love I love that, and thank you. Yes, we've tried we've tried to simplify a lot because I think before it's confusing. Different websites did different things, and then you weren't the website just look and feel wasn't where we wanted it to be. And so, since July, it's just given me the opportunity to come in and put my full hand on everything. And feedback like this is important because my wife will probably hear this as she edits this. She was one that did the website.
Yeah, I love the website. I'm immediately like a visual person. So it was immediately just simple. I knew where to go if I was looking for
Yeah.
what type of lead and the way that they were broken down. Just easy. So that's important.
Perfect. Perfect. And we spoke about obviously we don't do search leads anymore. And you said, what's that similar to? I'd say search is probably similar to, or old search is probably more like premium. I'd say premium though is better in a sense of we're able to create the audience that we want. I think with search, you kind of just get what you're given and it's very expensive. Even with the New York Lives and the Mutual Home Omaha's and all the big carriers basically are spending a fortune. And that's why we had to discontinue it because we couldn't scale it. But you're not actually buying the premium leads, are you? You're buying the standard leads. So talk to me about your experience there because I think everyone was expecting this to go to premium.
Figured out my posture, like what works for me. I started doing this, I think, more before it became a thing, as like the conversational sales, just bringing things back a little bit old school. Like people have been moving so fast, so digital that they were telling me, don't do emails, don't, do one call closes. And that is great for some people, but for me and my posture and who I am, that it doesn't feel right and it's not received well. So I started doing everything they told me not to do. And, I wrote the emails. I gave options over email. I do a discovery call, you know. So I really like leaned into what worked for me. And so I felt like that now translates to whatever type of lead that I want to use. So I started with the standard, and like you said, the way you break them down and really were able to kind of just give us the audience, like what you're eliminating from each lead type and who we can expect. I mean, that has been very consistent through my orders.
Perfect. And I was like about to ask you that because obviously the standard lead type is one where we do all social networks. So we're utilizing Facebook, we're utilizing TikTok, we are utilizing YouTube as well. But unlike the premium where we filter based on incomes
Mhm.
and anyone on disability or unemployed, we just remove people who are unemployed, which is still a significant portion of traffic,
Yeah.
50%. But the expectation is that you're probably going to get more consistency because you're already eliminating like a bit of traffic that you just could do something with anyway. And it sounds like that's been your experience so far, right?
Yes. Yeah. I've been, you always get that one or two lead and you're like, oh, here we go. But the one lead that I got that I was like, "Oh, here we go," was actually my first close for my orders. So, just a
Brilliant.
reminder to never judge a book by its cover. But yeah, they have been consistent in really just looking for people to help them at a price that they can afford and in a way that makes sense to them.
Yeah, talk to me a bit more then about like what types of people you're seeing because I expect it to be more of a mixed bag because obviously of the way they're filtered.
Right.
Is that similar to how would you obviously they don't compare with search because they're not wouldn't be the same.
Right.
But just in terms of like if you're using searches like the creme de la creme that you had previously, where does this sit? Is this low, or is it actually closer than you'd actually consider?
Honestly, I would say that the leads that and I have only done 3 orders with y'all, since the new leads have come out. I would say that they are, if not comparable, maybe even a little bit better as far as, um, I'm looking at 40 to 65. They may have some history, but they're not terrible people. They're not, like, trying to get something by you. They just, they either have encountered a sudden health issue that they are just now scrambling and like panicking, or they're just looking for the best price they can find. Everyone's trying, I mean, times are tough right now for most people. So they they're just wanting to find something at a great price for them. And then I've had a lot of people interested in just creating wealth or legacy for their kids or their grandkids, interested in like setting them up to have a better life than them, which I think is not something that I got with search leads.
No, no. I'm so glad you mentioned that, especially with the age. And it comes back to my point earlier about research, you just get what you're given and you can't actually build the audience that you want.
Right.
And it's interesting that you think that they are comparable, if not better. And that's good because it shows that how we are marketing one, but also the wording and the intention that we're using with the words that we say in our ads is flowing through with the quality of person and eventual conversation that you're having with them, which is good to see on my part and obviously great
Right.
as an agent.
Right. Yeah.
So you spoke to
Or expertise. So that's probably when you get to hear that affirmed, the ad side of it. Yeah. So
good. That's really comforting to hear. So you spoke about conversational sales, and that's something that many people may not know or understand what it is. And I agree. That type of selling is probably my approach as well. I think it's way more natural and it comes more natural to me to just have a conversation and find out. So tell the audience a bit more about, how you're going about your selling. What types of are you doing like specific dialing? What do you say on the phone? Just give people an idea of what you're doing to get the success that you're getting with these leads currently.
yeah. So like I said, I created my own type of posture. I did everything that they said not to do. And it really started from a CE class that I took, which we all hate taking, but that the CE class gave me the idea of a no sales policy on your first call, which changed my game. And a discovery call. So in my world, we were taught to like get through the client information on the first call as quick as possible, book this appointment, and then you're golden. Well, I was finding,
Yeah.
sure, a lot of you will like nod your head, but I got to the appointment and they either didn't show or they had no idea what they were doing. And it was harder for me as an agent because I was producing options for them when really I had no idea what their actual need was. They may have come to me for general life or mortgage protection, but really they just need, funeral expenses or something. So I created like a discovery call approach. So now when I call, instead of, hey, I just need 5 minutes to get all your information. I need more of your time because I'm not going to sell you anything. This is a no sales policy. I have strict no sales on first call. I just want to learn what made you click the button. Like what are you concerned for? What are you worried about? Or, tell me more. Just have a conversation like I'm talking to my, you know, grandparents or my friends.
Yeah.
So we kind of walk through it that way. And then in that process, I just built, you build trust with people. You have appointments with people who actually know what they're getting into. I have emailed most of my clients and they return my phone calls and they put in, those are probably some of my highest policies and they bring me referrals, my stickiest clients who I've emailed options to and then close by text because we've already been on the phone for 30 minutes. They know me and trust me and they're just wanting to get the app done.
Wow. So that's counter, like you said,
Totally backwards.
it's very opposite to how everyone is taught, right? And do you know what is it's similar to, so what you're saying is actually similar to, so Drew was on a podcast
Yeah,
not so long
yeah,
ago, and he had a very similar approach. And but I know just from people that I connect with, there's definitely scope for, as on the agent side of, how do you improve that rapport and relationship on the front end to ensure that you actually can get that, that return call or that sale or that the actual person showing on the next appointment. Because yeah, you hear it all the time. I'm booking loads of appointments, but I'm also getting lots of no-shows. Well, is that because you're not building a rapport on the front end? And it's probably true, right? People will turn up for someone that they have a connection with. And if you're just, like you say, quite transactional on the front end, then there's no reason why they'll stick around with you. Yeah, that's really, really good advice. And is there like types of verbiage that you're saying on the calls or texting? How are you first getting them on the calls? And then can you go a bit deeper into what you're saying with these guys as well, or
yeah.
girls as well?
It will like vary. Sometimes people just they can't get on the phone, which is fine. I know I would rather text you for 7 weeks versus get on a 20-minute phone call. But it's a digital lead. So if the lead will drop and I will say, we can jump on the phone for a quick discovery call. No sales policy. This is just to learn more about why you requested coverage. If you can't, we can text or I've started using a jot form where they can submit their information. So I've got a quick link I can send if you prefer to confirm your details online. So kind of beyond what you've already given. And I've had a lot of people do that actually. And so from there, the hope is that they respond, sure, I'll get on a phone call because I know you're not going to try to sell me anything. And a lot of times
Yeah.
they do if they can, but if they're sitting at work, it's send me the link, send me
Yeah.
your text. And then if I haven't gotten on the phone with them on the front end, it's during the appointment that I remind them of that approach. Hey, just a reminder, I have a no sales policy on our first phone call so that I can get on the appointment with them. So I
Yeah.
use it on either end, but everything in between is general scripting of what I've been taught as far as like how to collect their information with just some minor tweaks of language of like to fit me. But it's really that first immediate try and get them on the phone. If not, then putting that into the appointment. And I think the other thing I do that's completely backwards from everybody else is I don't set appointments. I do a very loose, like, you're like, wow, this is really going deep.
This is really bad.
I do like a loose, because I know how I work. I do a loose approach. So, hey, do you need these? If it's an early lead drop, hey, do you need these by the end of the today? Usually it's no. I'm just browsing. Okay, well, I'm going to touch base with you when I have your options ready, and then we're going to set a time to get on the phone. So then I'm texting them, hey, I have your options ready. When would you like to hop on the phone? Or I can email them to you, but we're going to get on the phone to walk through them together. No sales policy. I just want to make sure you understand.
Yeah.
So that frees me up from feeling like, hey, I'm going to block out this time as a mom of three and no one's going to show to having appointments that show.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just,
And I guess you're right. It works within your lifestyle, right? You're trying to make it as flexible as possible to work with, I've had a 2-year-old, I've got another one that's almost two. I know how it is. It can be a lot.
that's my loose appointment setting approach. And it's just worked really well for me.
No, that's perfect. And as you were mentioning all that, what I was thinking is why this probably works so well, especially for you and like I said, other people who have that similar, more conversational approach on the front end. The way we have changed our advertising probably fits that mold more than the quoting engine style advertising that most other people are doing. And so we're very intentional with the wording that we use in our ads, where we basically tell the person, even before they click the link to submit their details, you're going to speak to a licensed agent. This agent is going to provide their job is to, go through your options, provide you, based on your lifestyle, your criteria, the best options and plans available for you. So it's not that we're already priming them to say there's going to be a conversation. They're not going to sell you anything. They just need to know what your situation is. And then we also repeat that further down the funnel as well, to the point then when the lead submits to you, and you're carrying on the same message that we've kind of primed on the front end, it now does make sense why your output is so good and so strong. It's because really the messaging is consistent
Oh, yeah,
across the
that's
board.
interesting. Yeah, for sure. It's not like like, I'm just give me a number. I'm not you can go and Google and
Yeah,
get
yeah,
so that no, that makes total sense for sure.
yeah. No, and that's right. And I think as I've got feedback from agents how I implemented the new changes that we have with the lead types. One of the things was, more agents are saying, people coming on, and if you didn't give them a quote for $1 million, they weren't interested. They suddenly said, okay. And so again, that's like creating, this even the standard type, bearing in mind the standard leads, they get the same ads that our premium leads do. So we don't change the ads or change the verbiage.
It's just
So it's
out.
just the instance which we kind of filter differently. And so as you're seeing, it doesn't mean that the person isn't qualified. It really just means that we're just giving people access to these individuals at a probably more palatable price than some people might be willing to pay with the premium. So yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. This has been a conversation. So a couple more questions, and this is more about just the process. Like for you, what would you say switching? I'm not sure if you've done any other lead types, but let's say I think you have. So, what would you say the difference has been, or the biggest frustration has been with other lead sources versus what you're getting currently? And how is Razor working towards potentially reducing that or removing it?
Yeah. So I think my biggest, digital, analog, all across the board, for me, it was more so the client being unaware of what exactly they were getting themselves into a conversation for. So being surprised about what I was calling. And then on the digital side, it was that. And also, like, just, I need just like a quick, give me a number kind of
Yeah,
conversation. And they're just looking for the lowest number to be thrown out them, but no idea if they can be approved or not. And so that was really frustrating for me. And it was more so of I don't even know why you're calling, or I didn't mean to do this type of thing. Whereas
yeah,
it's not so much the case. I mean, there's high engagement fast and they know exactly what they did.
perfect, perfect. That's good to
So,
hear.
and you always have those leads that, well, I'm just, there's a lead is a lead at the end of the day. You'll always have some that are just browsing and scrolling, but the ones that I've gotten so far, I mean, they have been the highest engaged lead I've ever gotten, and there have been some
Good.
non-responders, but out of the ones that I have not had a lead respond so quickly and know with such high intent what they're having a conversation about.
Perfect. That's perfect. And you're right. It would be great if 100% of people
No.
did. I mean, I still in my mind don't understand the thought process of filling something out and then not responding, especially with all the hoops that we have in place. But people are people and you can't legislate for people's behavior.
Right, right. Yeah, they know what they did and who they did it with, and they're not saying, "Are you from such and such?" I'm like, "No, that's not me. You must have talked to somebody else." I don't have that conversation
Yeah.
more, so
Perfect. Perfect. Good. No, and one last question. And this is really just about the filtering process. Cause I think again, when I created it, my intention has always been to try and improve the consistency that you get order per order,
Mhm.
rather than, everyone's been there before when they buy leads. That was great. Great first batch. Bought again. What happened? It's completely different. They're like, did you change anything? No, I didn't change anything. And and the reason why the filtering in my mind made sense, obviously in your mind is different to reality, is because when I put in certain questions to find the data on the types of people that are coming through, and it was more financial questions, so employment and stuff. The reason why I needed to find that out is because I needed to understand what was the difference day per day, week per week of the people that come through. And some days everyone will be full-time employed, good salary. Then other days everyone's retired on fixed income. And so I was like, okay, I got it. So how has that process, or how much comfort does it give you knowing that, I know you're getting the standard lead, but even there's filtering there. How much confidence or comfort does that give you knowing that at least for a subset of people, you're not ever going to engage, you might engage them,
Yeah. I
but
mean, made me click very quick. And that's one of the conversations or one of the things I'm seeing most spoken about, like in chats and things when we're talking about the new raisers, is that just that group of people that was often a challenge for us is can be eliminated if we want to, or we know what we're getting as far as, like you said, a certain group of people that fit within this little circle. That no, it's a huge deal. Even if not every order was perfect like that, we know that that's how it's supposed to be most of the time. So it was very easy for, like, that was the most exciting update. Like, just that this is what you're getting. This is the group that is going to fit within this lead. And I think that is super appealing.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. So, no, this has been a great chat, but no, really, really appreciate your time, Kristen. And I guess before you jump off, have you got any other bits of advice that you may want to give up to people, more people who are probably starting out, because I think they probably benefit more from the advice that you can give them.
Yeah. I mean, my advice is just do what you feel in your gut is the right thing to do, the right thing to say. I'm always telling people, like, stop getting so stuck in the script or what you're being told to do and just put yourself in their shoes. And what would you want someone to do or say? Don't stir over the little things and just figure out your posture, because when you do, it's going to flow into everything else that you do in your business. So
Great advice.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, amazing. No, anytime. Forward to many more of your posts and success stories in the future.
Me too.
And yeah, thank you for your time, and I'll speak to you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.